Okay, let's get started. Today, I'm going to ask questions that you might ask. Now, I am not a pharmacologist. In fact, my background is in biology with a little bit of an emphasis on ethnobotany, drugs that people used in the past. I do not encourage any drug use, but this is a new one for me, and I wanted to ask as many questions as I could, so I hope this discussion is fruitful to listen to. Do you want to explain why you said everyone needs to know about this crisis? And why you feel it's so important to get the word out in education about fentanyl?
First, just really quick, a little bit of history. It started out as a painkiller. I had fentanyl in my epidural when I had my son 22 years ago. So fentanyl's been around for a while. It has recently become a problem because we're seeing it in a lot of street drugs. And so this is what that looks like. Now, it's very important to me to get correct information out in real time. And so we're seeing fentanyl in everything. We're seeing fentanyl in meth. We're seeing a lot of kids overdosing because they are buying what they think is an Adderall on the street, and it's pure fentanyl. And so fentanyl is being pressed to look like every other prescription drug. And so that's a problem, because if you go to the street to buy Oxy, which you wouldn't because Oxy is really expensive, you might even be looking for heroin because, and this goes back to the whole opioid crisis that we've been in for a long time, which is a lot of people became addicted to chronic pain management, like Oxycontin. Morphine is in that category as well. But fentanyl is something that we see a lot more in patches. You see that in the medical space. But the cartels know that fentanyl is highly addictive, and fentanyl also creates a huge chance for overdose. And so I'm going to leave it with that so you can ask me another question, because I do want to talk about why would people take something that you could possibly die from. But I'll let you ask me another question.
I think that was my first question is why would people even want to take fentanyl? I mean, it sounds so dumb to ask. And I understand that a lot of it must be mistaken identity, but why would anybody put it in a pill with such a high rate of overdose?
So, and I also, I'm not making this all about the cartels. We've got people selling here that are doing it as well, pressing anything to look like another prescription pill. And so why would someone want for people to take fentanyl? Because not everybody is going to die from a fentanyl overdose. Some of their clients have been using heroin for a while, and sometimes fentanyl is slipped in with the heroin because fentanyl is very highly addictive. And so this is the one thing that I know. So I also work as a licensed drug offender educator here in Texas, and I've been doing that for 8 years. So the thing that I have learned is that if somebody overdoses in an area, everybody looks for that dealer. Why? Because nobody thinks it's going to happen to them. And nobody thinks that, nobody thinks that it's going to happen to them. And they know that's the best drugs. And people are like, oh my God, Deb, that doesn't make sense to me. And this is what I say to people all the time. Your perspective is that using a logical mind that has not been clouded by substance use. This is not a logical thought process, okay? This is a thought process of, I don't have a lot of money. I want the best high I can get. I also want you to know that a lot of people are using fentanyl not because they're wanting to get high. They're using still because they don't want to go through withdrawals, which are incredibly painful, last a long time, and actually, depending on how long someone's been using, they can have withdrawals further down the road even. And so a lot of people, in my classes, they talk about people aren't chasing the dragon. They're not trying to get that best high anymore. They're just trying not to get sick.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I have some background with that. When I was 22, I actually had a bicycle accident in a race, fell down on the concrete going really fast, and more or less took off the skin off of this whole side of my body. And broke some bone. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And asked for morphine. I don't know why I asked for morphine. I just knew that would give me relief because it was so painful.
Yeah.
And I got addicted in 2 days.
Yeah.
And they only give you like a couple pills.
Yeah.
And went through withdrawals that were so painful in 2 days.
Yeah.
Like throwing up and
Yeah.
just, it was so terrible. And I imagine it's somewhat like my morphine experience because it's an opioid, but maybe worse. It seems like that's what everyone says.
So I'm glad you brought that up because morphine is an opiate, so natural form. Fentanyl is an opioid, which is synthetic. So a synthetic can, the pain-killing properties as well as the addictive properties, unfortunately, are exponentially higher than something like morphine or heroin. They only have a ceiling about this high, right, if you want to compare it, but then fentanyl has a much higher ceiling. And so that's also why we see people get addicted so quickly, is that synthetic property. And it's not the only thing out there. We see a lot of we're starting to see xylazine come back. So this is what we see happen is, we're down in Texas, so south border right here. We see drugs go up to like the northeast, and then they start to trickle back down for some reason. So now what we're starting to see, so I've got coaches, I'm a recovery coach too, and I train recovery coaches. So I have coaches all over the state, and I just talked to one of my coaches up in Dallas, and he said now that we have xylazine test strips, we just got 2 positives, one from Oklahoma and one from Fort Worth. So now that we can see these other drugs coming in, and I know we're talking about fentanyl, but xylazine is right on the heels of fentanyl.
Xylazine is what exactly, a derivative of fentanyl?
So, okay, people will say, well, xylazine is non-responsive to Narcan, which is the overdose reversal medication. It's always hard for me to remember. But so, and they're like, so people freak out, right? Like a lot of the people that I've been talking to on task force and things like that. Well, xylazine is not an opioid. So xylazine is not going to respond to Narcan because Narcan is a blocker for the opioid system, or not the opioid system.
Kills the receptors.
The receptors, yes. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. And so it's not it doesn't have anything to block because there's not xylazine receptors. And so it's just a different animal altogether. It has similar properties, which is pain killing. I'm not going to even really go into xylazine that much because it's a different animal. Sure. But just going back to fentanyl.
Well, I think, it's worth people understanding what is this drug in.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, it seems to me like there's 2 different types of people. There's people who are maybe looking for fentanyl. You were talking about that.
Yes.
But then there's people who are not looking for fentanyl, but are getting fentanyl.
Yeah. And that's a really good point that you make, because a lot of times people are like, well, drug dealers do this and drug dealers do that. A lot of dealers that I know actually test their drugs for fentanyl for a couple of different reasons. One is they have clients that are specifically looking for fentanyl. I have someone that I was doing work with that 2 weeks ago overdosed from fentanyl because that was his drug of choice. So whenever someone's DOC is fentanyl, a supplier wants to provide their client with that product. And so, so you've got fentanyl, people that are looking for fentanyl because that's what their drug of choice is. But then you've got the other people that are getting fentanyl, and it's just in whatever they think they're getting. So where we're seeing fentanyl is we're seeing it in a lot of pills. Mostly, so I have a friend that recently went through treatment, and actually a while back, but he said, Deb, his drug of choice was meth, and he knew to test his drugs, and he said every single time he used methamphetamine, he tested it, and every single time it contained fentanyl. Every single time. So I want people to know Fentanyl is in street drugs. What we see a lot of around here, because I work with law enforcement to try and find out, what are people using in different areas. And so what we see a lot of is Percocet. I don't know why kids are looking for perks, but that's what we see, especially in the suburbs, is kids are wanting Percocets. So they'll get what they think is a Percocet, and then after taking it, they'll overdose if Narcan's not available, or if their friends do what a lot of friends do, which is not know that somebody is in an active overdose, because a lot of times it just looks like they passed out. Sometimes people would think, oh, well, they were just drank too much, passed out. I've had people come through my class, more than one, that said their friend died right next to them and they didn't even know it. They overdosed right next to them. And so that's another thing I want people to just know to look for. When kids are together at parties, if you have a friend that has passed out, check to see if they are breathing, because that's what happens. Fentanyl is a suppressant. It suppresses pain, which is why it's a popular painkiller. Fentanyl's used a lot. People are like, well, where else do we see fentanyl? Medical field, pain management, you'll see fentanyl. Also in hospital settings. And then a lot of times if someone has gone home and is on hospice, they might be using fentanyl patches for pain, for terminally.
Sure, okay. And so tell me a little bit about, so I think we should get into what people can do.
Yeah.
Also. And maybe we would just start with that. You started talking about Narcan. That is the antidote, more or less. It's a reversal. Yeah. And that's something that people, do you think everyone should have one of those around? I mean, because to me it's like, I'm so far from that, but maybe it's something, given that it's in so many different drugs, it should be, you could have it for other people, something like that.
Absolutely, because you can't, and that's a good point, because you can't give yourself Narcan, because if you are overdosing, you're unconscious. And so, but people that are around people that are known substance users should have Narcan. Now there is an over-the-counter, it was an open prescription. Now you can go to the pharmacy and buy Narcan. There will be more manufacturers soon, because now it is available over the counter. So having Narcan, the one thing, like I get Narcan and I give it to people for free, but I don't want to just give it out willy-nilly, because you might be giving Narcan to somebody that doesn't really need it, where somebody else could need it. We have a shortage of Narcan right now. And so and not to say that Narcan shouldn't be in every household, it just might not be right now. So people that should have Narcan, if you know that somebody is using opiates or opioids and they have an issue with substance use disorder, which is also called addiction, then you should have Narcan in the home. And this is kind of, people don't think about this, but seniors, we see a lot of overdoses with seniors, and people are like, why, Deb? Because have you ever gone to take your meds and then gone and done something else and come back and been like, did I take that? So you take another one? That can be problematic. And a lot of times with seniors, because they can be forgetful, you don't want someone taking 1 or 2 or 3 pills more than they should be. So that's another place Narcan should exist.
And that reversal, so is this assuming that fentanyl is in the opioids that the seniors are taking?
No.
Or
So
that's just in case they
it's in case
take it.
Their doctors.
Yeah. I mean, almost every senior I know is on something.
And doctors
Some
don't
pain
talk to
reliever.
each other. So you might have 2 or 3 doctors prescribing opiates or opioids, and so yeah, well, that's a whole other episode. Right. But so to kind of go back, we won't talk about seniors so much, because I do want to focus more on probably who your audience is, and maybe there are seniors, I just don't know. But and so places, I always say places where people are should have Narcan. Schools, we're working on that right now. We're working on education right now here in Texas. A law just got passed that hopefully fentanyl education will be part of curriculums in the next few years. We'll see what those curriculums end up looking like. But also, who should know how to use Narcan? People that are around other people that are using street drugs. So right now, that's a lot of kids. I just, over the weekend, I was with I think he was 13-year-old boy that went home and told his mom, I want a Narcan. So I have this opioid overdose reversal kit.
Okay.
Opioid overdose kit on my backpack. I take it everywhere with me. What I'm working on is getting those on backpacks of kids everywhere. And so, and kids take backpacks to parties, you know? I mean, if you can have Narcan at a party, someone is overdosing, those kids are first responders. Which is actually, like, some people are like, that's terrifying. I'm like, I think that's empowering. And so for me, whenever I'm working with kids in schools, it's like, that's the top thing they say, what can we do? And too many people just don't think that kids can handle this, but what they're having to handle is watching their friends die. So I think they could handle learning about Narcan.
And I'm curious how you frame this, this problem. Because it seems to me like if you were new to thinking about this, you might frame it as a drug problem. But it also seems like it's an accident, like it's a problem in that people are not taking illegal drugs necessarily and getting the fentanyl sometimes. But sometimes it's like they're just trying to get Adderall or Percocet or Xanax. Or, you know, people are stressed.
Yeah.
And they're doing what they probably have done before through a doctor, and they just want to keep doing it.
Right.
And that can be a problem because, you know, just to put it in perspective, I had knee surgery years after my bicycle accident, so this was a different opioid thing. I got 100 pills of Oxy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I went through that pill, and by the end, I realized I was hooked on them.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but enough that it had taken over a part of my brain. And I kept thinking, how can I kind of like the next little thing that happens go get more? Or how can I convince the doctor or the next doctor I see that I need some for airplane rides or stressful situations? Because it works. It feels nice. And it didn't feel like I had a problem. But when it took over my brain, I now in retrospect can see how terrible that was.
Yeah. That happens and people don't really realize it. And so you say that happened with Oxy, that happened with me with hydrocodone. I had a crown and I took a hydrocodone. I took a hydrocodone because they gave me a 30-day supply, right? You don't need 30 days worth of hydrocodone for a crown. I used one because, and this is what people do. I mean, like, this is what regular people do. I don't want the anesthetic to come off, have pain, I'll take a hydrocodone. And then later on, whenever it's time for another dose, think, well, okay, I feel okay, but I don't want that to wear off and have pain. So that happened. I took 2. The next day, I woke up and I had a headache, and I literally thought I could just take another pill. This was before I was in this field. And I've got some of my own history with Percocet, so I was like, I probably don't want to take that other pill because I don't need to take another pill and another pill. But a 30-day supply, that's enough to get hooked. Especially, I do really want to talk too about genetics, because genetics plays a role too. There are people that are going to be predisposed genetically for substance use disorder or for any type of disorder in that range.
I've heard about so it's the same people that have alcohol abuse issues would have opioid abuse issues. Roughly, it's a similar,
interesting.
Different.
Because somebody can have an issue with alcohol, not have an issue with opioids. Do you know what I mean? So it's very much the substance will be, but then some people will take one pill of something and something in their brain says ding, 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 we want this all the time now. And then you'll see where they might use something else. I've had people come through my class that, they took Adderall. And then they were like, okay, well, now my tolerance has gone up to Adderall. My next step would be methamphetamine. They're very similar chemically. One's an amphetamine, one is methamphetamine. I had one guy say, my tolerance went up on cocaine. So I thought, well, my next step is methamphetamine. And he was like, I hated meth. I went back to cocaine. So it's like, for somebody that is genetically predisposed and like say their drug of choice is Adderall, might not seek alcohol because Adderall's a stimulant, alcohol's a depressant.
Maybe we should talk about resources if you know somebody who has this issue or people who have it. What do? Clearly there are stages where you can have your thinking brain saying, I hate this, I need to get off of this.
Yeah.
What resources are available for people at that stage?
Okay. Things that people don't want to do is like admitting that they have some kind of problem. Talk to your general practitioner. Talk to your family doctor. Talk to, if you don't have insurance or don't have money, a lot Medicaid is there's a lot of resources through that. A lot of places, treatment centers will take Medicaid, and then if you do have insurance, seeking treatment, just making some phone calls to your insurance to see, what is available, having a discussion with a therapist or a mental health provider. So our mental health authority here in our area is Blue Bonnet Trails, and so they have OSAR, which is basically where you would go to kind of get into Blue Bonnet, to get into services with them. And so seek out a recovery coach. A lot more organizations are utilizing peer support, which is somebody that's been there with mental health or with substance use disorder. And this is somebody that has walked the path before. And so there.
AA program.
So good. That's what people will say. Like, a sponsor. Peer support is different. Like, AA is its own thing. AA is its own modality. You have sponsors. Great. Recovery coaches can promote. I'm sorry. They can't promote AA. They can make available all the different pathways. So somebody might be like, I want to seek AA, or I want to seek like Smart Recovery, or I want to do Celebrate Recovery. It used to be that AA was the only game in town, and so that's what people are most familiar with. But there's a lot of other pathways now. Some lean more holistic, some lean in, but most, the best really is to be looking at like what we call WRAP, which is where any treatment is person-centered. It's trauma-informed, so that they're also, kind of understanding what trauma might have happened that maybe has led to some substance use. And almost every time you peel that back, you're going to see some early childhood trauma, or you'll see some genetic link. So to get back to your question, really just start asking questions. Even if it's like you have an uncle that, had a problem with alcohol, talk to him. Talk to somebody that that has been there. Just, right. You are not alone. Yeah. I mean, that's really the biggest thing that I think I want people to know is you think you're the only person with this problem. You're not. I mean, so many people, and I mean, with my drug offender classes, lawyers, nurses, we see a lot, unfortunately, because of the trauma that they are in direct contact with all the time. Police, people in professions that you would never think. And like, you're just not alone. Find somebody that you can connect with, because those connections are there. And kind of something you said that I want to go back to for a second is, connection is something that is lacking in a lot of places today. And the old saying is, the opposite of addiction is connection. So find somebody else to connect with. You know, find somebody else that you can that you trust, that you can say, you know, I haven't talked to anybody about this before. And I can guarantee you that of 10 people that you know, 5 to 7 of them have had some kind of similar issue, whether it's substance use disorder, mental health issues. So you're not alone.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I feel like there's two parts to this getting off of an addiction thing. One is the physical addiction that causes withdrawals, and it seems terrible to try to get off of something like fentanyl because it's so addictive. And that's where they can treat you with certain things at the hospital. But you know, the next thing is trying to figure out why is it that people would be taking Percocet or Xanax in the first place? Like, why would they be going and looking for that? And that is something I'm trying to look at with Stone Age Man, you know, kind of like reconnecting to nature, to our roots, community, you know, working out more, like trying to fix things that way. Do you find that there's enough, or do you find like there's the right amount of push towards that latter thing? Like, why would people be looking for pills in general? Or is it all kind of just trying to, when you're treating the addiction, like just kind of, you know, patches or, you know, other things? I don't know. What's your perspective there? Does that make sense? It seems like there's a response now to try to help people in need.
Yeah.
Where is the response happening? Is it at, you know, let's get you physically off of the addiction? Or does it go back all the way to why are we having this pill problem in the first place?
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yes, I absolutely see what you mean. And so the answer to that is meeting people where they are.
Yeah.
It very much is about, because this is what we've seen in the past, is, and I'll speak direct because I've worked with people with, Austin has got a huge unhoused population, and I've worked with people in the camps. I've worked with people that are housed, living in cars, all kinds of things. And so what the city says, the politicians are like, well, people need to get off drugs before we can help them do X, Y, and Z. Well, if that's a barrier to someone getting house, like, we need to meet them where they are, because there's always going to be they need to do this before we can do this. And so meeting an individual where they are, and that goes back to kind of like that wrap, having a team around the individual. And this is another thing I just talked to somebody the other day. It's not like they're the focus, like everybody's staring at this person. They're part of their own team. Like, they are a peer to everyone that is helping them. So it helps to empower them, where they're not seeing themselves as like, oh, I'm the problem, because that's what they've been told their whole life, right? Oh, well, if you could only just do this, if you could have done this, why didn't you do this? You should have done this. So there's so much like shame and stigma and self-guilt and self-judgment for someone to just come in and be like, what happened? You know, like, what do you think happened? And having those conversations and meeting people where they are, so that they're part of understanding what the solutions are. Because there's nothing worse than having a bunch of people with clipboards coming into a room and like slamming questions at you, having no personal connection, and turning around and walking off. Like, that's the fastest way to feel like this small. And it's also the fastest way to want to jet and get out of there. And so this is another thing I want to say. Every person is different, every body is different, and every brain is different. Everybody's going to need something a little bit different. It's really for us, like the helpers, to understand, the helpers, the family, the friends, what is the thing that this person needs, and not telling them what they need, but more asking them what they need.
Why is fentanyl such a problem?
Oh, fentanyl is such a problem because it's everywhere. It's everywhere right now, and you've got it in prescription form, you've got it in illicit street form, and that's where we're seeing the biggest problems, is people buying pills that they think are one thing, and they're not. They're either tainted with fentanyl or they're pure fentanyl.
I I've heard people refer to this as poisonings. What's your response on that?
You might hear people talk about fentanyl as fentanyl poisoning. So that is when someone buys a pill that they think it's one thing and it's another. So in fact, law enforcement is starting to look at fentanyl. If someone has been sold something that is either pure fentanyl or tainted with fentanyl, they're starting to go after the people that are selling for murder. So yeah, you will start hearing the terms fentanyl poisoning instead of overdose, and that's what they're referring to, is an overdose by fentanyl poisoning.
Why should everyone learn more about fentanyl now?
It's everywhere. We're seeing kids as young as elementary school age overdosing. Texas has got a lot of overdoses. Hays County, Collin County. So Hays is south, Collin is north. It's everywhere. The way I'm trying to put it is that the way that I told my judge when I was a juvenile case manager in 2016, I said nobody's going to care about opioids until the grandkids of the grandparents that live in Sun City behind gates start dying, and they're dying. So that's why everybody needs to know about fentanyl. It's an everybody problem now.
Like, who is fentanyl affecting? It's just a different way of asking, but...
Sure. And this is something that we are seeing being referred to a lot politically, which is normal people are dying now. That's so stigmatizing for somebody that has lost somebody that has suffered from substance use disorder. So everybody needs to know about fentanyl because everybody started out normal. It's not like, you know, on their kindergarten essay, you know, when they were telling their teacher what they wanted to be, nobody says a drug abuser. Nobody says, I want to lay in an alley behind a restaurant and be addicted to drugs. So everybody that starts out using and is affected.
Is there hope for people that are hooked on fentanyl now?
Yes, absolutely. It depends on how long you've been suffering with addiction to fentanyl, with substance use disorder. Some different avenues might be tapering down with a medical professional. It might even include medication-assisted treatment. So there's a lot of different things that are available to look at. You've got to start somewhere.
How do you explain what you do?
I am a fentanyl educator. I'm a professional in the field. I've been working with substance use disorder and mental health supports for over 10 years. I've worked with the courts. I do licensed drug offender education. I'm a certified family partner, so that's on the mental health side. I do a lot of listening. I do a lot of just being quiet to let people tell me their story so that I can find the place that I connect with them. And I really, honestly, anybody can do that. You know, you don't have to have a lot of letters behind your name. You know, so I do a lot of trauma work and a lot of trauma support. You don't have to be trained in this to just be able to listen to somebody.
I think, how do we get over the stigma of addiction in general? I think if you grew up when I grew up, which was in the 80s and 90s, it was quite stigmatized. And if you were addicted, you must be part of a bad class of society, yeah. Right? And I think that's why even people don't talk about if they have addictions to pills, like I was just talking about. Like, I had some opioid issues, but it was because of my knee surgery.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that I had an addiction. And it wasn't bad, but now I'm more open about talking about it. Yeah. It's just, it doesn't seem unnatural. I think a lot of people have addictions, and if you just talk about it, it's easier.
how do we get to that place of being able to talk about fentanyl? Sometimes if people might reach out to someone that's a coworker or a friend, if people are part of a church community. But the funny thing is, those are the places that people feel the most closed, right? You don't want to lose your job. You don't want to lose your community. But there are opportunities that present themselves every day to have a conversation about this. And like I said, you don't have to be a professional in the field, and just to provide support. So how can we help reduce stigma? Using correct language is a big way. So a lot of the things that I hear is junkie, right? I mean, like the ugly language that people in the field don't use anymore, but people in society still do. You know, I think a really good example is in the mental health space, you know, the hard R word. We don't really use that word anymore. It's not appropriate. So the junkie is not an appropriate word. It's, you know, it's a person with substance use disorder. And people say to me all the time, well, I don't know that terminology. Maybe just using kinder language or asking, like, what would be the right way to say this? Sure. You know?
And those are tricky because it's kind of a cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
Because pretty soon substance abuse disorder will go out of phase and you'll have to find a new one, which is fine. And, you know, to me, it's like, you know, I have to tweak my dopamine system would be very nice to say, because my dopamine system's a little hijacked right at the moment. Something like that, because that makes sense to me.
And it's also like everybody's so not having to worry about being politically correct. Like stigma is really, like reducing stigma is more about kindness. And it's more about treating a human like a human and not the us and them. You know, the them was us at one point. And remembering that, you know, the language matters. And so just kinder language or saying, you know, because it does suck because the field is always changing, even for us. But ways to reducing stigma is kindness.
Do you know how long fentanyl lasts? Like the pull on your brain, how long it lasts? And I say that because I want to say with the opioids, it might have been close to a year, where it kept feeling like, man, it would be real nice to take some. And it took that long, maybe even 18 months. I can't remember now. It was 5 or 6 years ago. And I'm so happy that's not in my brain anymore.
Yeah.
But it's gone. It's gone now. I don't have to worry about it. How long does that last?
So, like, the pull from opioids, fentanyl specifically, because it's such a different animal, it depends on the person. It depends on how long they've been using. It depends on some of their genetic makeup. The one thing that I will say about that, though, is if having community, you know, having other things that are taking up that brain space, having other things that are providing dopamine and serotonin. And a lot of times when people are isolated, you know, those urges, those wants are there more and more. But whenever they've got something that they are attached to, that they're passionate about, that they're, you know, part of something bigger, that's a big piece. And I mean, it's interesting to me because fentanyl and like wanting to use, it can kind of overlap with things like depression. And even like looking at depression and saying, you know, if a person could, part of combating that is getting out and doing something and, you know, putting their energy towards something else. There's a big saying that is, you know, the best way to help yourself is by helping somebody else. And so getting involved in a recovery community, getting involved in a community period, it helps. There's going to be always things that one person's profile will involve things that won't be involved in another person's profile, but just a connection really helps.
Okay, so I love this, and maybe you haven't thought about this, but I'm going to throw it your way in case you have. Do you have a bullet pointed list, 3, 5 things that people can do to improve their mental health? Community you mentioned, so you can start with that. Like, do you have a list that you're thinking, like community, you know, exercise, gut health. Yeah, I don't know. Have you thought about that?
Yeah,
I'm curious.
yeah, for sure.
You want to throw out like here are a few ways that I think everyone should be working to improve their health, or for mental health purposes, or
Everything I do is through the lens of intuition. I talk with people all the time, and this is something that I find a lot with people that are using substances. A lot of people are really highly intuitive, but they're not connecting with it. Some people are using substances to squash some of that. Start listening to your gut more. Do things that are interesting to you. Intuition is interesting to me. I talk about it all the time. Like fentanyl, rescue animals, and intuition are the things that I talk about. Those are three things that are really important to me. And so I think also too, and intuition really feeds to this, is do what you're passionate about. Do what you are naturally drawn to do. Do what you are naturally born to do. A lot of times, people that end up in my classes, they're like, you know, Deb, I became a lawyer because my dad wanted to become a lawyer. I wanted to be a mechanic. And I'm like, then dude, be a mechanic. Like, that's what you're supposed to be. And then I think the other thing is, I know I keep going back to listening, but taking time to connect with people in a listening space is really important. And having someone know that you are listening to them, you know, having someone know that you are listening to them so that they create the space where they're listening to you. And that's where a conversation happens. Like I have conversations about intuition all the time, and people are like, man, I wish that I, you know, had more conversations like this. And I'm like, you can. You just have to not be afraid for other people to think you're crazy. And it takes some putting yourself out there, but I've been doing this for a long time, and people are always interested when you talk about what you're interested in. So I think for me, those are really three of the big things. Yeah, of course.
how do people find out what you're doing?
You can find me through my intuition website, which is travelingpsychicsupperclub.com. On Instagram, I am Traveling Psychic.
Definitely follow those links down below in the description if you know somebody that could use what we just talked about. All right, thank you everyone. Again, this is a topic I don't usually talk about, but I think it's important to get out there, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one.
that better? Sorry, I'm sitting here. I don't even know if you can see me right now. You can't see me. I would have just been talking to myself here. That's awesome. Held by myself. Created by myself, maybe. Yeah, I know I'm sitting. Sorry. I'm not gonna get bought, I don't know, I have to fix this fucking camera angle. Or where my chair is, or whatever, how my desk is set up, I don't know. Oh. To enable myself to I guess achieve a No, I did not fall asleep. Let's see. Oh, hey, these aren't the right goals here. Yes, they are though. In at least one Canadian health region. Within 1 year. Let's give ourselves a realistic goal here. Innovate. Non-existent. And pre-existing. Technologies. It was on YouTube. The one about fentanyl? Yeah. Well, essentially, Bronwyn, that's what I've been doing for fucking a year and a half already. Just going over what was in that video. I was actually going to record something similar. I talked to that lady online once. Talked to that lady online once, and I honestly don't remember where I talked to her. I wish I could remember where. Not really. It was not a lot of fun. What a dude. What a dude. One piece right here. Yeah, buddy. What do you got? Just cover everything in bleach, you guys. Cover it all in bleach. Waiting for this mailman to come by. So I am gonna be the most impatient motherfucker in the world when this is done. Spreadsheet's really up. Oh, I did hear somebody yelling. He's a homeless, weird-looking dude. He's like, "Oi!" I don't know why I looked out there, but he's looking right at me. Whoops. Oh, it's all this fentanyl I've been doing. making a coffee and sort of harvesting income streams over here. Go Botrix. I don't want to go to. It's pretty easy to figure it out. I am talking to myself. That's me. I was talking to you, you African. What does toggling moderation activity do? Show it. Let me see the moderation activity. Yeah, bitches. That's right. I don't know what the fuck that does. Participants. That's just us and Botrix, goofball. Oh, this coffee looks good. I don't know if you can see this. I'm gonna try and let you see it. It's beautiful. That wonderful little spiral. Yummy. It's wrecked now. Yeah, it looked alright, eh? My buddy's telling me he's got syphilis. You get when you fuck random whores. I always wondered about that. Like, how does somebody get away with having syphilis and then going and fucking other people? Gross. Like, if you notice you've got syphilis, you can't fuck other people, right? Could you possibly? Dripping all over the place and shit. Ugh. Ugh. Crippy. Crips, bitch. Good morning, by the way. That wasn't to you. That's this lady here. But good morning, by the way. The fuck was that? My email. To some email address that doesn't usually get. That's my business email. Why am I getting junk email to my business? Ouch! Oh my god. Trish woke up this morning to a half a mouse in the hallway. Holy fuck. You think Crumbs ate half of it? Oh my god, the baby's eating mice. Oh my god, Crumbs. That's awesome, dude. Oh, she's finding. Oh my. Several mice, hey? Oh my god. The cats are fucking down with hunting mice now. You two better step it up. Your brethren and sisters are hunting mice quite successfully somehow. 2 feet and a tail left. Ah! Was it bloody? The back half of the mouse. My cats are killing mice. Homie, what do you mean you're lost? Last night, the cats rewind to like some couple of weeks ago, and Cookie and Licorice have been hunting mice for a little while now. Cookie got hit by a car. Now it's Licorice just hunting mice, and now Trish is starting to find bodies. Oh, dead bodies, dead bodies, dead bodies. Did that get your attention? That's how we got Gucci's attention on like the worst day of her life, and any other time we wanted her identity, or her attention, not her identity. I'm gonna steal Gucci's identity. That'll never work. All right, Bronwyn, let's give you a quick rundown. An opiate, spelled this way. Sorry, I had something in the way here. That is a natural opium, I guess. These, if you ever see this. Now, even drug addicts get this shit way fucking wrong. So this is good education here. Opioids, not opiates, but opioids. Opioids, I don't know how the fuck to say it. Nobody does. Opioids, they say. Are synthetics. So completely fake, I guess. Completely not natural. Okay. Fentanyl is an opioid with a D. Whereas like heroin is an opiate with a T. I don't know. Everybody wants to be Gucci's. It's like that old, oh, hold on a minute. I'll get it. Degrassi theme song there. Or not the theme song, but the other one. The Zit Remedies hit song. Joey Jeremiah's hit song. Come on. Do you know it? I'm just fucking around. That is gonna be completely irrelevant. You don't know? What are you talking about? Oh, hold on. You really don't know? Here. This is like the only song that... This band, dude, you never... Shut up, you did so. You were a Degrassi addict. In fact, you like those twins. These twins right here that are filming. Here, I'm going to bring this on. Cause... Oh my god, worst song on earth, by the way. I'm muting it because I'm going to sing it.
Everybody get ready and get into gear. The Degrassi sensation is the one and only. The Zits are here. Everybody wants something, they'll never give up. Everybody wants something, they'll take your money and never give up.
Okay, so that's like the entirety of the song. It's gonna get really repetitive now. See the girl holding Ghetto Blaster? That's who I think you're a fan of. These guys suck. Why is my fucking camera? Not a fan, huh? You don't think this is amazing? Here's the deal. somehow they managed. This show and its predecessor and its sequels were fucking huge in Canada. Huge in Canada, especially over in Bronwyn's neighborhood. Right on her block. Her friends used to all watch this show. This is probably, if you didn't like this show, that's why you didn't have friends in school. Not even kidding. I hated the show too. It's not why you didn't have friends in school. It's why the people in school didn't like you as a friend. Because you didn't fit in with one of these fucking Degrassi kids. You weren't a Degrassi kid, so you were like a fucking outsider. And they're like, oh, she's like when Snake had AIDS. Or whatever. That is the most simplified version of life in Canada that I can even think of. And that's pretty much how it works. No, see, Bronwyn, because you didn't have shared experiences with all these losers. Like, do you remember when Claude killed himself? Oh my god. I remember his whole poem. Not kidding, I do. And it's sad. I don't remember how this all started back here, but okay, well, here, let me show you who Claude is. Oh man, it's so sad. Dude, he brings a gun to school and he fucking shoots himself in the head. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This is why. Wait, what? Trigger warning. Triggers. If you're suicidal, don't watch this. Or do. I don't know, this is how we dealt with suicidal kids in Canada. Oh, wait, go back. We missed it. Oh, I won't, he said.
Doing any more classes. What has this place ever done for me? You're gonna get in trouble. No, I won't.
You're gonna get in trouble. Oh, no, I won't. Oh, no, I won't get in trouble. Don't you worry. Leaves his locker open. You ever see somebody's locker open? Go run into the bathroom and make sure they're not killing themselves. Warning. Oh my god, he's got a tea towel. You can tell, and you can tell that whole towel wasn't folded by a kid. Like this faggot here, that doesn't look like anybody we know, Bronwyn. Nobody. This guy does not look like he runs a Discord server on YouTube or through YouTube. Doesn't look like he harasses Fousey. Does not have a big gay. Oh, he does have a big gay earring. Probably doesn't, not covered in tattoos. Drake did come from Degrassi. You're right. That is a good one. That was a great one. Great move, Bronwyn. You tied it right into Fousey. I love it. Good move. Here we go. Come on, Claude. Do it, Claude. Show us, Claude. This kid made me not want to be a goth kid, I'll tell you that right now. Oh yeah, leave your locker open. Yeah, nobody even cares anymore. I got a gun, bitch. You know what the sad part is? The kind of kid that I was, that was kind of like this kid, I would have blasted every one of these kids. Every one of these kids except this blonde one.
I don't think he would have done most of it if she hadn't talked him into it.
Excuse me, like he wasn't responsible for his own actions?
Lucy, don't jump in. If you have something to contribute, put up your hand.
That guy molested Lucy, the guy that just said that in the blue shirt. He rapes that girl later.
I mean, she did it all for him and his glory.
It's not like she wasn't getting anything out of it.
Alexa, hands up first, please. Yes?
I think he touches that one.
That's all I had to say.
And then she gets all...
All right, I'd like to hear from somebody else.
Yeah, I bet you would, you pervert.
Yeah, Snake.
No, Lucy's not the blonde one. Lucy's the mulatto one. The blonde one is Spike.
Sure. Go ahead.
And yeah, I would have. Impregnated the piss out of her.
All right, settle down. Now, if you
she gets pregnant, by the way, and has a baby. Oh my god, why is Claude's locker open? Oh, Snake. No, Snake, don't do it, Snake. Uh-oh. There's a girl dead in the boys' bathroom. Did you see her shoes?
You alright?
Are you alright? You look like you're alright. What's this puddle of blood here? This guy's got a mental deficiency. Yeah, keep looking. He's probably gonna get better if you keep looking. Yeah, look at it again. Keep looking. Brains, you like him? This guy's fucking stupid. And then he runs off. Mr. Whatever your name is, teacher, principal.
Final exam schedule.
Mr. Ratford? What's his name? Mr. He's gonna say it.
Mr. Radich?
Radich.
Come quick. Archie, get a hold of yourself.
Mr. fucking Radish.
Who's dead? What are you talking about?
In the boys' washroom, there's a gun and there's blood everywhere.
There's a gun and there's blood everywhere. I don't know what that means.
His face.
Where he is.
It's Claude. He doesn't even know it's Claude. He doesn't care. That's it. We didn't even get the poem. What a rip. Didn't even get the poem today. What a scam. What? What? I don't want to click this so badly that I want to click it though. You were fucking Tessa Campanelli? Do you remember Rick Campanelli? I don't know how good I am here, but if you don't remember Rick Campanelli, he was also known on Much Music as Rick the Temp. You remember Rick the Temp? That's awesome. Rick the Temp was like the biggest bitch. I hated that guy so much. He never should have got that job. Never, ever in a million years. You met him? I bet you did. I met Master T, if you remember who Master T is, did a video dance party at my school. I never got to meet him, but he was there. I don't know what's going on with Carissa here. I bet you used to hang out on Yonge Street or what? Can't do it right now. Damn it. I just told Bob Pagan to send Carissa some money. All he ever does is type Bob Pagan. Yee. Ah, you work downtown. What were you doing down? What the fuck do you mean you work downtown? Where? You know, your history is a thing of mystery. Not supposed to rhyme. Totally didn't mean for that to happen. Please ignore that it did. Sounded like it was set up. Whew. At a movie theater, really? Shit. You know what? I hear working at a movie theater for 12 years is actually pretty decent. Were you the manager yet? Yeah, that's actually 12 years at a movie theater will get you some clout there. You don't still work there? What happened? You quit? He's like, I don't like movies. Oh, COVID? Did COVID get you? Yeah, you get advancement like every year, right? There's like some kind of policy that Cineplex and Famous Players both go by, that you get like raises pretty regularly. That's awesome. You're probably making more than the fucking manager. Oh, brutal. Do you work concession, selling tickets, just being a what are they called? Hold on. They got them at weddings. Usher. Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, there's the shift differential, too. I totally forgot about that part. Oh, so you're working like matinees and stuff, right? Floor person? Is that like an usher? Oh, you took tickets, right? On their way in, ripped them in half and shit. Right on. That's a decent job, man. I'd have been snatching them tickets and handing them to my friends. Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I have some friends that used to work or still do work at theaters. They get like tickets to IMAX films and shit all the time. And the pre-release screenings that the projectionists have to do to line the movie up and shit. That is a really good position to have if you're looking to make a lot of friends. You want people to leech off you for free movies. Woo! Fuck, that's making me want to go work at a movie theater. But I totally don't. Smelly is Big T. Uh-oh. Mr. Pagan is a bum. Yeah, we totally do that. I am drinking. I don't even want to confess to what I'm drinking here. I'm drinking 2 scoops of instant coffee with 2 scoops of French vanilla instant coffee as the creamer. Yeah, totally not safe, totally not good. Ton of caffeine. Whew. Ton of caffeine. I don't believe I'm still waiting. How did I get back up there, dude? What happened? What happens if the camera does this? See that little orange disc over there, Bronwyn? You got autism, right? Do you stim out on shit? I don't know. I don't pay attention to time. What time is it right? Noon? Holy fuck, bro. I wish I would have fallen asleep. It's so early. Oh, okay. Just ADD, ADHD? Well, ADD's gone, so just ADHD? That's wild. I had a little bit of that too. A lot of that, actually. What I don't get quite is the autism part that I've got, because I don't know, dude. But that's mostly because I got taught to work past it. That's what I'm hoping we can do with Ty. Catch him and get him. He doesn't have to think like a normal person. He just needs to appear like he thinks like a normal person. Right? And that's what we all do anyways. So I don't see, at least I think that's what everybody does. If that's not what everybody does, full-blown autism here. If you walk through life pretending you're normal, and really you know you're different than everybody else, might have autism. I don't know if she would. It'd be nice if she did. Yeah, it'd be nice if she did, I think. But I don't know. See this stuff? This is the stuff I'm trying to use as a fake creamer. It's working really good, but it's putting more coffee and sugar into my drink. I can't tell if the mail came yet. It'd be nice though if she did, by the way. If I didn't say that already, I assume I did. Everybody wants something, they'll never give up. Nah, I don't know. You can shoot her a message whenever you want. Don't do it by my special request. Oh my goodness. If I make a special request, you can tell her this too. No, but yeah, you should tell her, maybe. Ask her, not tell her. You can't tell people things. Invite her to wear as little clothing as she wants to. I'm just totally kidding. I'm kind of kidding. If she doesn't want to wear any clothes, though, she's perfectly welcome to. But that was a joke. No, yeah, I miss her a lot more than I probably should, which is kind of fucked up. But I can't do nothing about it, so acceptance is the first step. Can't live in denial. Gotta move on, keep on moving on, or something. Let me explain before I go sticking my foot further in my mouth. So, with permission, I'd have been down in somewhere in the States, probably lost all on my own. Yeah, that's right. But with here, do you want me to start a panel here? Do you want me to flick a panel on, and you can just pop up here if you want? I'll be right back, okay? Actually, what I'll do is I'll burp. Go across the street. What? Yeah. I'll bring it up sometime in the next 10 minutes here. So anyways, with permission, I'd have been wherever that lady told me to be, honestly. Unhealthy. And I don't know. Things kind of went shifty and not as happy as they were, I guess. And yeah, world fell apart over there. That's the only way I can put it. I don't know. But I honestly thought that she knew that the whole time. I feel so bad. I thought that was like one of the first things that I ever told her. Was that Trish was dying and told me what to do, and I went and did it. The fuck was that? Oh, it was a text message. Probably from, I hope it's not from... Oh my god. She's got AIDS. Oh, shit. Oh my god. I bet Cookie was eating them. Alex is like that. Yeah, I don't know if she'll respond either. If I was her, I'd just be like, tell Hate to go fuck himself. I'm sick of this shit. He's crazy. Or I'd be like, I don't know. Hopefully real forgiving. Okay. Ain't nobody that forgiving, Ron. Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen, but I bet you it would provide the perfect on-screen tension. As long as I behave myself. So because I got the donation for edibles, I don't want to be a scumbag. The donation for edibles. Oops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually buy edibles with the money that I was sent, right? Yeah, buy them. There's chocolate bars that... Yeah. They're chocolate bars, and they're edibles. Chocolate bars. I am gonna bleach this fucking table today, and then I'm gonna do some tattooing. Fuck yeah, dude. So, what do you think this can is worth? You're not even here anymore, you're gone. What is this can worth? 5 cents? It's got this cool little capper on it, though. It's nothing worth more than that. So, thank you to the person who sent me. I understand it. I really thought I wasn't going to make it to the program today, and luckily, I took credit because I made it. I mean, cake. I was going to have no message. $55 shipping. We're trying to start a StreamYard up here. I'm really slow right now. Still drinking all these coffees. So somebody told Controller to go. Whatever she asked, the person told her to go crawl under that gazebo. I don't know what kind of fucking thing that is to say to somebody go crawl under that gazebo and look for it. Your beeps are the same as mine. That's Amber. That is Amber. Okay, I had Frank. This guy's fucked up. Oh my god, that guy sounds so fucked up. What a retard. Hello, Arthur, whoever you are. The guy sounds like he might be winning the Special Olympics. The music is perfect for this lady walking by.
Oh my god. She was bent over.
Ew! For serious? Ew! Oh!
Alex was definitely Alicing last night. She was Alicing hard. She was fucking Alicing. Oh my goodness.
Yeah! Go Alex Meyer. Okay, we're gonna here. This is where we're gonna be live in a minute. I don't know what I can do about this. So, there's a mess here. Live stream. Studio. Panel time is what we're gonna call this shit. Nah, we're not. Let's go. Let's talk. Let's chat. How about that? Hashtag live. Hashtag IRL. Hashtag StreamYard. No. Chat. Let's go chat. YouTube told me to only use 3 hashtags. You're right, you can't legally. Everybody wants something. Okay, I don't know if I can't do this right now. Here, we'll go live. We don't get a brand. I still have my thing that Nana made for me too. It's so stupid. I don't know why I never deleted this. Okay, go live. So we're live over here. I'm gonna switch and give you the wherever. I don't know where to put it. I don't even know where it shows up. Why doesn't it show up? Where are we live right now? So stupid. Why is there not a link to this somehow? There's like the invite link, which is not what we're gonna send. So do I now have to go to YouTube again? I do. Let's do it then. Let's do it then. We'll go to here. Share. Copy. Go over here. We'll post it here. And then we will end this live stream. Peace out, yo.